right here live in Toronto. So I usually come on about 5 minutes earlier just to do a couple of checks here and make sure we're okay and we're tuned in. So let me just see if I can catch everything on live here. There we go. So let me just tap that button. All right. So thank you. Thank you for coming on. Oh yeah. So folks, this afternoon I have a very good friend of mine that's coming on. But before we get started with that, I just want to make some quick announcement here that Maori Chair TV, Maori are indigenous people of New Zealand. And chair is a slang. It's a slang that we use in New Zealand. You know, like they're still using it today. Some of the Maori bros and sisters, they're still using this word chair. But chair goes like this. It goes, chair, bro, that's a nice car you're driving. Or chair, bro, that's a nice bike you're riding. So it's a slang. It's a crack-up slang. It's a funny slang. And we still have fun with it. TV, though, TV is not television. Maori chair television. It's Maori chair talking voices. And this is what this event is today. It's talking voices. So pretty excited about this, to have this event or this platform called Talking Voices. And I've been doing the show now for around about 6 months now. And also in the afternoon, I would say around about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I also do the show called Five Alive. And Five Alive is that when I sing 5 songs. I play 5 songs at 5 o'clock, Saturday, 5 o'clock, right here in Toronto, Five Alive at 5. And I've been doing this too for almost, I would say, around the same time, 6 months. So it's been fun. But this summer in July, at the end of July the 31st, I'll be doing my last show for Talking Voices and Five Alive, because I'm taking a break summertime. But I'll be taking my cameras with me when I go touring around somewhere or downtown or whatever. And I could be doing some video shots back, some live shots, live streaming from wherever I am. So it'll be another show that I'm going to be doing, another platform, and it should be fun. So I'm pretty excited about doing all that. So this is going to be fun, folks. So I just can't wait for it to, for me to have a break, and then I'll come up with a new platform. So it'll be pretty cool. But anyway, this afternoon I have a good friend coming on. He's from Wellington, and he was raised in Wellington, and of course he went to school there in Wellington, and he got a bachelor's degree there for commerce and administration, BCA. His interests are in the computers. He loves computers. He's in the computer field. He's in an IT field, and so it'd be great. It'd be great to have a chat with him. So I'm pretty excited about that. And he's done a couple of trips here and there. He's been around looking at a couple of places. He's even been to Alaska and to Yukon. And wow, he's pretty excited for him to go to those places. So I'm pretty excited to talk to him about it. And he loves Vancouver, but for some reason he likes Toronto, and he's ended up in Toronto here. And he's been living and working in Toronto now. So I'm pretty excited about that, to have him on. So I'll just wait for him to come on, and it's going to be pretty exciting to have a chat with him, just to find out what he is, like to find out what he likes and what he likes doing and stuff like that. So it's been interesting to see. I'll just like to put a little bit of picture of him up here, you see, because he is kind of a dirt bike sportsman. He loves the dirt bikes. And it'd be interesting to get to talk to him about all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, I'd be pretty excited. And I like to talk to Brian as soon as he comes on. I'm going to bring him up in a few seconds here. So I'll just, but like I show you that dirt bike, he's a really big fan of that, and he likes to, he loves these dirt bikes. So, but anyway, I just want to let him know that he's getting ready to come up here in a few seconds. So, hi, Gavin, by the way. Yeah, I got Gavin up there on, thanks, Gavin, for tuning in from Chicago. Gavin, thank you. And say hi to Nikki, too, as well. So right now, without further ado, I'd like to bring up my friend, the guy that's hidden behind that mask on the bike, because that's what he loves doing, but he loves doing other things, too, which we're going to talk about. So I just want to bring him up, and we can say hi to him in a few seconds here. His name is Brian Cotino. Brian, welcome to the show, my friend. And here we go. I just want to bring him up right now. There he is. Hey, Brian, how you doing, buddy?
Good, mate. Kia ora.
Oh,
Sorry about
man.
that. I had some technical difficulties here.
Oh, man, it's okay, man. The technology, that's why we need guys like you. You see, IT guys to fix things, But
I, for some reason, my internet dropped off, and I've actually connected to my phone.
Yeah, well, I'm actually like, that happened to me too sometimes. With what I got here, sometimes it drops off. Then I have to reboot everything. So it's all good there, brother. You're on. So you know what, Brian? Thanks very much for coming on. I really do appreciate you coming on and sharing your journey and sharing your experience, and and you leaving home New Zealand and see what's on the other side of the world. It's exactly what I did at the age of 21. I left New Zealand, and then I experienced, coming to Canada, to Quebec, and all this and that. So I'm dying to hear your story, and I'll just go through the bio a little bit. What you sent me. You're from Wellington, Johnsonville for many years, right? And then you moved out of home, and your parents moved up the coast to Camborne?
Yeah, that's right.
Is that whereabouts is exactly that?
So you know where the police college is?
The police college
up in Parua.
Oh yes,
yeah.
yes.
So you go past the police college to part to an inlet, and then you cross the bridge and you're in Mana.
Okay.
So you drive through Mana, and just before you leave, up on the right on the hill is the Camborne.
Oh, okay. Hey, I haven't been home for a long time. Yeah, and you also went to St. Pat's College there?
In Wellington.
In Wellington. Victoria University in Wellington. You got a degree in Bachelor's of Commerce and Administration, BCA?
Yeah.
Wow, congratulations, by the way. That's pretty good, man, yeah. But your interest is in computers, back in the 80s and 90s, right? And you worked for you worked for the ANZ for a while. Is that correct?
Yeah, I did. I got my first job out of school at ANZ Bank, and got into the financial industry that way. It's allowed me to travel.
Yeah. Well, true. Yeah, absolutely, man. You where was your you made a first trip to Canada, but you didn't come here for the first time for a job. It was just a trip back in 1997.
Yeah. So how I got to Canada, that's a great story. So 96, friend of mine, Peter Darian, we reconnected after high school or college, what we call it in New Zealand, right? And reconnected, and we good friends. So just mid-90s, he'd he had a dual citizenship, New Zealand, Canadian.
Yeah.
So he'd gone, he'd come back to Canada, well, he'd gone over to Canada, and I met him, and then we were chatting one day, and he said, "Why don't you come back with me for a trip?" And I said, "Okay, sure." So I was working, and you know how we get pretty generous vacation time in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So I had 4 weeks, and I had 2 weeks saved up for doing some overtime. So I had 6 weeks to take. So it took 6 weeks, and we didn't have much of a plan other than we were flying into Vancouver. We were going to buy a car, and we were going to just drive for a while.
Right.
So that's what we did. Literally flew into Vancouver. 3 days later, we were in Victoria.
Really?
We'd bought a car. It was a 79 Ford Fairmont. Yeah. I think it was $600 for that car. And at the time, insurance cost us $300 for 3 months. And I remember, you know, insurance in New Zealand's cheap. So I was shocked how expensive it was. And, you know, going by today's
$100 a month.
Yeah, that's a bargain. But, you know, yeah.
It was $100 a month, man.
And, yeah, I know. The New Zealand money, you know, like what we paid in New Zealand, that was a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think I had third-party insurance for $75 in New Zealand.
Wow.
So my friend Peter brought over his hang glider. He was into hang gliding.
Right.
Funny enough. And we loaded the car. We drove over to Victoria Island, and we just drove up the coast, up to Whistler, further north.
Right.
And I visited this camping outfit called Mountain Equipment Co-op a few days before.
Yeah.
It blew me away. It was huge, right? I'm trying to remember if we had anything like that. We have Kathmandu in New Zealand now, and it's huge, but I can't remember how big it was back then. So pretty much made our way north, and we went all the way up to Whitehorse in the Yukon.
Wow, you went to Alaska?
Yeah, we went to Alaska. Took us, you know, a week or whatever. We were pretty much staying at campsites, just finding a campsite on the way up, staying there, and then every third or fourth day we'd get a motel for comfort. It was cheap enough. Yeah, you know, I had so many adventures. This is probably like my most I've done a lot of traveling. This was the one we had no plans.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
a spur of the moment type
up
thing.
at a creek. Yeah. So Peter had worked up at Beaver Creek, which is the most western like town before you hit the Alaskan border.
Right.
And it was a stopover for a lot of the tourist buses. Right. So he'd, you know, for a few years previously, he'd worked there. So we were up there visiting friends of his. So we stayed there for a few days. But it was pretty wild being that far north.
Yeah.
There were a couple of days like we only saw maybe 2 or 3 cars.
Yeah.
And you'd slow down and you just wave to them because, it was just strange. So a lot of sightseeing. Yeah, we went up to Alaska. And have you ever read that book, White Fang? Or seen the film?
No, I haven't. No, sorry.
Okay, so we're up in the country area where, you know, Alaska, where gold mining was huge. Mm-hmm. So we end up deciding last minute to do this hike, the Chilkoot Trail, which now I think you probably need a permit, and you know it's probably very popular. Back then, it was still you could just hike it, but we actually had to fill out customs forms before we started it because we actually cross over at the top into you know, Alaska, back into the Yukon. So we went out of Skagway and we just hiked, and it's a 3 to 5 day hike. I think we did 3.5. We were moving just because we had, you know, some time frames to meet.
Yeah.
And it was amazing, but at the same time, you know, same thing. You're hiking out there and you don't see anyone for a few days. And you know, you kind of just wave, and you're wondering why they're carrying spray cans on their straps, on their bags, and you're like,
all the
what's
bugs.
that? You realize it, yeah, you realize it's bear spray, and you're like, oh.
So
Yeah,
listen. I have a gentleman that's watching, Gavin Bennett from Chicago. He wrote down underneath there, Jack London. Are you familiar with that?
yes.
Jack London.
Yep,
Yeah,
Jack London's
he just
white
wrote that
fan.
underneath. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good one, Gavin. Thank you, Gavin.
Yeah.
He got Jack London. So he's it's amazing. He said he said, get lost and you're buggered, bro. You get lost there
Yeah,
and you're done.
exactly. I
Wow.
can't
So
remember
that
what we
was
had for map.
yeah.
You know, we didn't have the technology we have now. I think we probably had a paper map and just kind of
Wow.
great ideas.
Yeah.
You know what? We ate well the first night because we got sick of carrying all the canned food that we bought, because that's all we bought.
Well, that must have
Heavy.
been an experience. How long were you there? Like, how long did you do the trip for?
Well, we were up there for a couple weeks in that area. So after
then you
doing
went back,
the Yukon Rifles, we
then
actually
you went
went
back
across
to New Zealand. Yeah.
No. We still got more adventuring going.
Oh my God!
Went across. I went across top of the world highway over to Edmonton. You know, ice road truckers and all that.
Yes.
So yeah, up that way in the summer. Obviously, I didn't mention this was July.
Yeah.
So we went across to Edmonton and hung out in the mall for a day, like the world's biggest mall.
Yeah.
Back around to Calgary and down to back to Vancouver. Peter flew back, and then I spent the next 2 weeks by myself driving down to San Francisco, the Pacific Coast Highway. And I had a couple of run-ins at the cops. It's all good because the car broke down or had problems with its lights.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. So San Francisco was mind-blowing, amazing.
Right.
And then I came back, and just before I finished I think it was 16,000 kilometers we drove. An hour out of Seattle, out of Vancouver. I actually had a car accident, unfortunately. The rear tire blew on the car, and it spun, and I came off the highway, and I was fine, thankfully. I had to deal with all that, and then flew back to New Zealand.
Wow. What a trip, my friend. Amazing. So all that took 6 weeks, you said? Roughly 6 weeks? Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
That must have been an experience of a lifetime for you.
Well, that was why I wanted to come back to Canada, actually.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Coast. Yeah.
Wow.
The West Coast and everything. And it took a few years, and it was interesting how I ended up here. So I found out we could have a New Zealand working holiday visa for Canada, but at that time there were only a limited number of visas available, and you had to go in a lottery system. So they put your name in a hat. You had to apply in New Year's, and they put your name in a hat. It was all done through Sydney, through the High Commission or embassy out there.
Oh, really?
So 2 years in a row I missed out by chance. Unbelievable. Because they would tell you what your chances were. They'd say, 600 people applied and 400 people got it. And I was in 200 that didn't get it one year. So meanwhile, I just said, you know what? I'm going to apply for a landed immigrant visa, to move out there. Mm-hmm. And in the meantime, I'll go to the UK and do my big OE in the UK. So long story, just went to the UK for 2 years, came back to New Zealand. And in that time, I filled out the forms, paid the fees, and one day I got an envelope saying, you can come over to Canada.
Wow.
So September 1st, 2001, I flew into Toronto. And the reason it was Toronto was my friend Peter had come back over to Canada to live. And with his hang gliding, he came to Ontario because one of the Canada's best hang gliding pilot lives out here. He used to live out in Pickering. So when they built the CN Tower, there's you can see some footage. There's a guy that flies off the CN Tower on a hang glider.
Right.
When it opened in the early 70s, right? So that's this guy. I think his name was Michael.
Right,
And
right.
so Peter came over here to train up hang gliding, and because he was my sponsor, was the
Yeah.
only reason I ended up in Ontario. Yeah, and actually, I was here during 9/11. And I went back to New Zealand about a week later.
Yeah.
It was just to get landed, and I wanted to come over in the following year's spring. So, and that's what happened.
So did you? Yeah. So did you have a job to come to when you came back to Toronto, or did you get one when you arrived here?
I got a job. I worked at Canada's Wonderland for a few weeks.
Oh.
I was job hunting, and so post 9/11, post .com bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty tough coming in and job hunting. So whilst I was job hunting, I just got a part-time job at Canada's Wonderland.
Yeah.
Catch Greyhound bus up that way or whatever it was, Go bus. And I worked there for a few weeks, and then finally got a break, got a job.
Yeah.
Settled into Toronto.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now you've been here for quite some time now, because you used to live close by me here in Hyde Park. You used to live, and then now you moved out to the Bluff area, right? To near the Bluffs. Mm.
Yeah, it's been like 17 years. I think it's like almost as long as the Leafs getting into the second round of the playoffs. Wow.
Yeah, that was a bit of a shock that the Leafs didn't make it.
Well,
for those hockey fans. Yeah, for those hockey fans, sorry. Next year.
I was telling my son it was kind of like the All Blacks for a while.
Yeah.
In the 80s, like if you add up between the two World Cups, 87 and 2011, it's like 24 years or something. It's a long time.
Yeah.
We've had our share of heartbreak.
I know. Tell me about 2011 is when I went home to the World Cup there back in New Zealand. That's not back home. I've been living in Canada for 40 years, 40, and hadn't been home yet. So anyway, that's another story. 40, man. So that'll be a story to tell when I get my friend to interview me on my show here. It'll be everybody's gonna have to tune in and listen to that one. So you're also, well, listen, man, like you've done quite a few things, and I know you love music. You're a rock, heavy metal guy. And what else do you like? You like dirt bikes. You love snowboarding and all that kind of stuff. So you're a very sportive type of guy, man.
Yeah. So the snowboarding came because good friends in New Zealand took me down south, and I learned to ski down Mount Hutt, wherever it was. South Island, came back North Island, and one time we were down on a ski trip in the mid '90s and saw a guy go past on a snowboard, and I thought, well, I'm going to give that a go. And actually, you know what? It turned out to be a sport I was actually really good at. I was like, wow, it kind of clicked with me.
Yeah.
So I got into snowboarding, and when I traveled to England, I actually took my snowboard with me, and I went, I did some travel into Europe.
Right.
And that was the attraction of coming back to Canada.
Right.
Which is very ironic because I ended up living in Ontario, flat.
Yeah.
But I didn't know at the time when I showed up here. And, I guess I have always had that attitude.
Boarding?
I'll make do. I'll make it work.
Yeah.
So I've done trips. I've done trips out west a few times. I've been heli skiing, big mountain trips. I've been out east. I've been out to Quebec a few times.
Yes. Yeah.
And I actually got my instructor's certificate. I joined a ski club here in Toronto.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And I've been a member since 2001, 2002.
Nice. Good man.
Yeah, I got my teaching certification through that. I'm still involved. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's great, man.
That's the main sport, and everything else has come along because
absolutely.
Well, I'll give that a go.
Yeah, and you also sit on the board here in Toronto with the Kia Toronto group that Sarah Orr is in charge of the group too. Like she's the president of the group, Sarah Orr.
Yes, that's right.
And and I just had Hayden on last Saturday.
Yeah, that's
Hayden
right.
also sits on the board. And so you guys got some interesting things, I'm sure, that's going to happen once all this is over. And so how do people get in contact with you guys when they're coming? Yeah.
The website's KioraCanada.com. I'm sure you can link it in later on this feed.
Yep.
But that's the website. We have a Facebook group as well. The Facebook group is very active. A lot of banter on there. The website's just it's a bit quiet right now because we usually use that to post events.
That's right. Yeah.
It's been through some changes in recent years.
2
years ago, we had a whole lot of events planned, or a year and a half ago, a bunch of events planned, and then with COVID and everything kind of slowed down. With the Kiora group, do a wide range of different things.
Yeah.
Usually try to promote anything New Zealand that's happening locally, from film festivals, what New Zealand films are being shown.
Yeah.
We've had wine tastings. Trying to think.
I know there's other. Yeah, I know there's other things like there's the picnic, and there's that goes on here.
Popular.
Yeah, and then we had events at the Hemingways, like the Christmas events, and the also for the Christchurch, when they had the big event for Christchurch.
Yes, that's right. We did a fundraising for the
fundraising. Yes, absolutely. So those things are important.
We did another one for the earthquake up in Gisborne.
Yeah, the earthquake. Yeah. So that's pretty good because Sarah and you guys all pulled together and got a lot of few sponsors for stuff, and Hemingways has played a big part.
Yeah,
all the
really
time. That's our hot spot, man. Hemingways is our hot spot, and I just can't wait until everything is over so I can go back there and and meet up with everybody again. So it's been pretty amazing to to sit down and have a chat with everybody and have a nice cold one with everyone too. And I'm sure we'll hook up there, Brian.
Yes, for sure. It seems like forever since I was there last.
Yeah, right? I know, man. So, Brian, what I'm going to do now is that, so we've been through all this now with what you've done and all this and that. So I've got some pictures, and I'm going to show some pictures, and I'm going to get you to talk about them. And I think some of the stuff that you've already talked about, where you've been and what you've done, I think they're in, they're in the pictures here. What I'm going to be bringing up.
There's a whole lot of bunch of things I threw at you, so we'll see what you have.
Yeah. Well, I've got this one here. I'm going to put this one up, and you can tell me what it is. And you might see me step out of the picture, and I'll put you in there so you can explain this. So this one here, this looks like at a
yes,
game.
That was when I went down to San Francisco on that trip. And
okay, so I'm going to step out for a minute there, buddy.
Yeah, I actually played American football in Wellington, believe it or not. We had a team. We had 5 teams. Through Victoria University, and we're the Wellington Giants at the time. I remember this, and I was into football, and so whilst I was in San Francisco, I thought I would go see a football game, not knowing that average guy can't normally get tickets. But I showed up at a secondary ticket agent, scalper, I guess, and I was lucky. I only paid $5 more than the ticket price. I think it was $45 US, and I paid $50 because the guy couldn't sell them. So there I am, looking down on this amazing atmosphere of a football game.
That looked pretty amazing, all right, that one, man. So yeah, so let me go to this one here. This is a picture that I wanna put up. Here, this one here. Look at that. Can you see that one there?
Yeah, those are my snowboards.
Oh, yeah.
They're Burton boards. And a couple of years ago, I actually did a trip out in the summer out east to Vermont. And I actually went to the head office of Burton. So I was pretty pumped about that. Yeah, my 2 boards. That's all I have. That's all I need. Yeah, the heli skiing photo out west, and we're up at Panorama and went up. Actually, it's I think more the flight and getting out off the helicopter whilst the helicopter's hovering on literally on one skid on the mountain, that was actually quite adrenalizing. The terrain we skied down wasn't that steep. It was more intermediate, but it was well worth it. It's not a cheap thing, but yeah, it's a bucket list thing. Sure. Yep, there's Burn snowboards. I was pretty happy that day. Concerts, music, Toronto's been great for music. So New Zealand's not too bad, but in Wellington, we often didn't get a lot of big shows. I think it was 1991, AC/DC played, and then there may have been one more show at the Athletic Park, and that was it. And then they tore down the park, and they had the event centre, but nothing big. So you've got, I think, Lancaster Park in Christchurch and Mount Smart in Auckland for concerts. Now, I love my music and I was a big Metallica fan, and I actually delayed my travels in '98 because Metallica were touring Wellington. So I ended up waiting for that show, seeing the show. Then I started traveling, and I actually since then seen Metallica, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 times. And 2 years ago, I'm in the fan club, and I actually won tickets to be right up front of stage. So I was literally 10 feet away from the band at the Rogers show, the big, huge show. So that was mind blowing. But that's actually Iron Maiden. I got to see them a couple of years ago. Classic British.
Gavin already
amazing stage show.
Gavin already knew that because he put down on the Maiden. He already put that. So Gavin already knew that. Gavin from Chicago. Good one, Gavin. So yeah, man.
That's one thing, Toronto, we've got a lot of venues, and we're lucky to have the shows come through. And that was at Molson Amphitheatre, which is one of my favorite venues.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. That was pretty cool. Pretty cool, all right. So now here's one of you and the boys. This is interesting, this one. There we go. Check that one out.
Okay, yeah. So you can see the guy at the yellow hat, Johan. He's South African, good mate of mine, very good mate. And we're both smiling. The other two gentlemen, content. So we were coming from New Zealand. I was used to fishing in the ocean. I'd never done lake fishing. And so these two guys, friends I met through a ski club, took us up north, and we actually went way up north, like up towards Timmins Way. So we were quite a far up north, and there was a gentleman's bet for the biggest fish and the most fish, and both Johan and I won that bet because we were newbies, right? Newbies have all the luck because those guys were putting on the lures. Oh, no, you got to use this lure for this type of fish, and we're like, oh, this is. If I was a fish, I'd bite this. Let's just throw this on.
Look at that, man. You guys got a lot of fish there, man.
Yeah, that was only like one day. So we were up there for about 3 or 4 days. And we were actually wild camping. It was just phenomenal. I haven't done anything like that since. But, I learned how to those are actually pike. And they're actually quite a bony fish. They taste good if you can get meat off them. So you need a big one.
Yeah.
I think most of them are pike. Might have been a walleye in there.
Wow. Have to throw that one in the hangy, bro. Yeah. And here's another one. This is the lake, right?
Yeah. So this is the lake from where we were fishing. It was amazing. Good old Canadian wilderness.
Look at that. That's stunning, man. The picture's beautiful. Jeez. Unbelievable.
So I think Timmins is what, 8-10 hours drive? I forgot. It was a long way.
Yeah. So, what about this one? Where's this?
So that was on the trip out west in '96. Just my friend Peter looking over. So part of that story was we were driving along, heading north, and we saw a helicopter, and we actually stopped and started talking to the pilot. And there was some New Zealand connection there or whatever, but we end up chartering the helicopter and flying up to the top of this peak. And my friend Peter there flew off this peak. And this is a weird part of the story and funny part. So we're up there getting the hang glider ready, and we could see all these mountain goats. And I thought, oh yeah, look at these mountain goats. Now, 5 years later, whatever it was, when I was in England, watching a wildlife show on Saturday morning, they're talking about Sheep Mountain and the very rare mountain goats or whatever. And that's where we were. I had no clue.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just hilarious.
That's pretty amazing, bro. That's really cool. So here's another one here. Let me see here. I got this one here. I got this one here, view.
Oh yeah, it's a bass.
Yeah.
Got that off the dock.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So yeah, I learned, I've been fishing, taught my son how to fish.
Right.
Yeah. I got a lot of fishing tales stories as well. So but yeah. Yeah, there he is there. That was last summer, I think. The best time to fish is early, like early morning or late as it's getting dark. The problem is the mosquitoes come out. Yeah, there's another fish there. Now my son's name's Lucas. He's actually caught a fish that big recently too.
Well, that's a saying. You teach, you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day.
Yeah.
You teach him how to fish, you feed him for life.
Yeah.
See?
That's right.
So there you go. See, so he's got that all down now.
I got to admit, it took me a while to get used to putting the worms on a hook like you do here.
Oh yeah.
I grew up cutting up squid or octopus or something. There he is. That was recently.
Oh,
he was
wow.
up there by himself. Well, not by himself. He was up there.
Yeah.
And he was fishing by himself, and he caught that. So really impressed me. So that's up in Lake Scugog, about an hour away from Toronto.
Yeah. Beautiful, man. That's good. Really cool. Really cool. So, and I think this one here too. Did I already show you that one?
No, that was his first fish, I think.
Yeah, that was his first time. Yeah, nice. Good stuff. Yeah, good one. Well, you'll be catching more fish and bring it home for you to eat.
Yeah. Well, you need a big one. It's still quite bony.
Yeah. Teach him how to spend. Gavin, to teach him how to spend his wife dollars. So yeah, pretty cool, man. Anyway, go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't know if you got the winter photos.
I've got this picture here. See that one?
Yeah, no, that's out west.
That's out west, eh?
Trail, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we have mountains that big in Ontario.
Yeah, I have this one here. I want to show you. I've got this one here. I think you already talked about this one.
Yeah, so that's the car.
Yeah, so go ahead.
The rear tire blew, and it came off the rim at highway speed, and I spun around and hit the Armco barrier, and it was rush hour traffic too, 5 o'clock. 2 lanes of traffic. I spun out, didn't hit anyone, thankfully. And the highway up there is normally up quite high, built up. So I was really glad there wasn't a big drop. So I got the car towed. The state troopers came and got the car towed, and it was really going to be it was a pain a wee bit, just because I'm a New Zealand license with my friend. The car was registered to Peter, and the car's a Canadian car. So I got it. I changed the tire, I literally went to Michael's, bought some duct tape the bumper up, put some cellophane on the rear stop line.
Maori style, bro.
I drove it back into Vancouver, and I actually took it to a wreckers because I had to do something with it.
Yeah.
Was supposed to sell it to a friend, but couldn't do that anymore. So I took it to a wreckers, and I dealt with it. I still have the license plate somewhere. Not here. I think no, I didn't bring it into my shed.
Yeah. Wow. Souvenirs, memories, man. Memories. Great memories. So here's this one. I think you were talking about is this one here.
Yep. So it's hang gliding. So got him out flying.
Where was it?
So that's out in BC. But when he was out here, they were doing it out of Pickering. There was a hang gliding school in Pickering. Now, we don't have mountains in Pickering, so the way they get the hang glider up is they have a winch with a rope, and they pull it like you would a kite, and it pulls the hang glider up into the sky. Yeah, and they can go up really high, a couple of thousand feet, and glide. So did that for a while. He actually.
So you've done that, right? You've done the hang gliding.
I've done it tandem.
Yeah,
it's very interesting because you're up there quite high off the ground, and you look around, and it's like there's like a sheet and some poles holding me up.
Yeah.
There was that movie, Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. My friend Peter, did the stunt double for the actors in that.
Oh, really?
At one point, they find a hang glider and fly it. Yeah, it was filmed down here in Ontario. That film.
Nice, man. Yeah. I don't think I could do that. Not at my age. When I was younger, yes. In my 20s, I was kind of a bit of a daredevil with things. So yeah. But not today, But that looks interesting, though. That really looks interesting. Gliding over Toronto on there, man. Hey, and you can take your drone with you
these days. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Pretty cool, man. So, yeah, it's interesting though. Very, very interesting. So, your trip and what you've done and where you've been. It's it's amazing. So, when was the last time you went home to New Zealand?
See, 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Really? Eh?
Went to my parents, and then
right.
My brother's in Australia, so I went over to Australia to visit him. But
right.
It was interesting because it would have been 10 years before that I was there last, because I got my driver's license renewed when I was there, and they actually gave me an extra year, and I got in there just before that extra year expired.
Yeah.
So
wow, great stuff, man. Well, Brian, I know. Hey, I want to put this last picture up that I have here of you, and this is something that you are very, something that you really like, and I believe you were out this morning before you came on to the show.
Yeah, that's right. So
yeah, so go ahead.
I used to ride street motorcycles, and kind of got bored with it just because all the good roads are further away, and time and effort and insurance. So I thought I'd try something different, and I used to go dirt biking once a year, and there's a place you can rent bikes from. In the end, I ended up buying my own bike, and I ride up at Ganaraska Forest, which is about 45, 50 minutes away from east end of Toronto. And the forest is huge. It's a multi-use forest. Mountain bikers, hikers, horses, and ATVs, dirt bikes. So I started riding with friends up there, and this photo is actually from an event. It's a race, and it's an enduro event. After a while, you get sick of riding the same trails, and because you can only ride certain places, I decided to go and try some of these events out. And I've made some friends, and I really enjoy those events. And unfortunately, right now with COVID, everything's been cancelled. Actually would have been at an event today. It would have been at a place called Burnt River. Towards the Kawatas, and that was really great. You get to see some amazing terrain and trails, and you ride for 2.5 hours nonstop. It's pretty enduring.
Amazing, man.
But I was out there this morning because last week something fell out of my backpack, and my GPS, my backup GPS, and I thought, well, maybe I'll find it. I knew which route I took.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I did actually find it this morning, so I was pretty happy with that.
A week later.
Well, I think everyone looks down the trail when you're riding, because you go where you look, so you look down the trail. But I was going slow, and I was looking to the side, and it was about 3 or 4 kilometers into the trails. I actually spotted it, and it was blue, so it stuck out. It didn't look natural. Yeah.
Wow. The speed that you guys go down those tracks, man. So you must have slowed down a little bit,
Oh yeah,
So
big time.
yeah.
Yeah, but that's funny because there's actually a New Zealand connection with this dirt biking stuff
Yep.
too.
Yep.
I, there's actually a New Zealand guy, Chris Birch. He's world famous.
That's right.
He
Yes,
runs
I've
a
seen.
school.
I've
Yeah,
seen.
he runs the
I've
school.
watched some of the New Zealand dirt bike. Some of them doing those flips and all that kind of stuff, man. And there was a Kiwi guy that won a competition. I forget his name, but yeah, he's
Okay.
very, very popular. It's just
Yeah, it's actually
amazing what they
motorsport's
do.
so popular in New Zealand, right? So
Yeah, yeah. Well, Brian, I just want to thank you, and I just want to thank everybody that came on. Murray Crumpton and Gavin and Doug and everybody. Helen was on here. So yeah, I just want to thank everybody for coming on. So
yeah.
Brian, thank you for sharing
Oh, you're welcome.
your journey and and what you're going to be doing. And of course, again, as I said, that you're a board member of the Kyoto group here in Toronto, and you and Hayden and
Yeah.
Sarah
So
all, and there's a couple other guys that sit on the board. So it's going to be interesting to see what we can do. I'd like to help out you guys too to see what we can do after everything is over. And again, we just if you can just repeat that one more time about how they get in contact with Kyoto Canada.
the
People,
website's
yeah.
kiaoracanada.com,
Mm-hmm.
and on Facebook it's named the same way.
Right.
Right now, the Facebook is the one with more activity. We don't have any events posted on the website. Last year we were planning to do in the winter. We were going to the La Crosse.
Right.
We had some other things. We've done a camping trip in the past as well.
Mm-hmm.
So those are things that will probably come up as things open up and we can get going. The barbecue in September is very popular as well.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to a lot of the stuff that's going to be happening. Soon as this COVID and pandemic is over, and then we start connecting up and meeting with everybody, I think it's going to be an amazing thing because we haven't been out for a drink with each other for quite some time. So let's hope we can all get together soon and enjoy ourselves. So. Brian, once again, thank you very much. I really do appreciate you coming on to Maori Chair TV this afternoon. And folks, I just want to let you know that I will be back at 5 o'clock with 5 Alive right here. So I'll take a break for about an hour and a half. And I'll be back with 5 Alive where I sing 5 songs at 5 o'clock. Brian, thanks very much, my friend. It's great having you on.
All right, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
My pleasure.
Welcome. Cheers, man. Thank you very much, Brian, for coming on. I really do appreciate that. So, folks, tune in later on if you want at 5 o'clock for 5 Alive, where I sing 5 songs at 5. Kia ora.